I wanted to meet with some Tibetans from Tibet who were doing winter business, setting up at the border. And by the time I had reached, they had already wound up with the business, they had gone back. Then I got lost in the wild mountains, almost about 4,000 meters above sea level, with no food and water being frozen. So just 5 days I just had a very, very tough time trying to survive up there with nobody inside, no food, no water. The Tibet that I saw at that time was not the Tibet that I romanticized. It's a very, very harsh, brutal land with nobody inside. And then when I met the first Tibetan, it was on the 8th of March 1997. That afternoon, I remember very clearly, 2:30 in the afternoon, around that time, I was completely exhausted. I had cracks on my lips, completely emaciated with no food and water for many, many days. I was literally walking like a zombie. Then a long distance I saw this flicker of white shape in the far distance, and I moved closer and I saw that this is a huge herd of sheep, and right in the middle is a man riding on a horse. I walked towards it, and that was my relief, my savior. You know, after all this time with no food and water, I'm finally seeing a human being. For me, it was not about India, China, it's about my survival. I have to live. I went to the man and I held onto his hand, begged him for water. He held me, grabbed me from my collar like this and said, "Where are you from? What weapons are you carrying?" He spoke Tibetan. And I said, again and again, "Give me water, give me water." And there was no emotion, there was no feeling. It was just one of the on the border kind of a duty when you get somebody who you suspect is a spy or somebody. Grab me here. He's a Tibetan nomad, but I noticed that he was wearing Chinese army uniform inside, and he was wearing huge sheepskin chuba on the outside, and leading this herd of sheep and a horse. And he dragged me in my hand with the sheep for a long distance, and then there was a time there was some water I drank. I drank along with the sheep, you know, completely on my phone, and drinking water along with the sheep. Sheep pee and sheep poo, and so that was my first impression, my first experience. But it was not difficult for me to break that stereotype. I could not continue to think like, oh, Tibet has to be this beautiful and heaven, because I was very, very clear of the political situation that is going on there. What shocked me later was when I was put in prison in Ngari town, and then later when the higher officers in Lhasa, when they were not satisfied with the interrogation that the Ngari town police officers did with me, they ordered that I should be brought to Lhasa. So I was taken in a police car from Ngari Tungchu to Lhasa. So this is a huge distance of almost about 1,600 kilometers, and we covered that in a police car. If you actually look at the map of Tibet and look at the scale, you would actually know how much we traveled. So I entered Tibet from here. This is Indus River. I entered from here, got arrested here in Ngari town, and then they took me on a police car like this up Gerke, and Poje, Thaga, then like this, and Hatse, Shigatse, and Lhasa. So
Wow.
this distance we covered in 3 days in a police car. And then I was in Lhasa. I was put in prison, Situ detention camp. That was on the 26th of March 1997.